Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about appreciating your weight loss progress. This is really something you need to think about. It's surprising, and you may not even believe it, but it's like I've worked with so many people and they are successfully doing things to lose weight. They're losing weight. They've lost weight. Okay. But what regularly happens is their brain says it's not enough. It's no big deal. Who cares? We got so much further to go. And appreciating your progress really is this fundamental piece of success because it's really amazing how your brain, regardless of what the results can be. Like I've worked with people, they want to lose 100 pounds, they lose 60 of it, and they still feel it's nothing. And the entire way along their journey, they just feel like it's no big deal. They haven't accomplished anything yet. It's so what? And they have this negative part of their brain that just never gives them any credit, never lets them appreciate all the things that they've done. And if you have that mindset, let me take a step back here. I think a lot of times people have that mindset because this is part of the whole dieting thing, where you're trying to make yourself feel so bad that that's how you get yourself to take action. Right. So most people build their weight loss around pain focused motivation, where again, it's what triggers the motivation is they step on the scale and it's a bad number. They go to the doctor and they say, you got to do something. Someone says something mean to them. They see a picture of themselves. Clothes that used to fit don't fit anymore. And they feel all this pain and they say, that's it. Now I've got to change this. And they try and hold on to that pain because for most people, when it comes to weight loss, holding on to the pain is what is driving them. Now, this is a big part of why it doesn't last, but we're not talking about that right now. But when it comes to appreciating your success, I think this is kind of wrapped up in this, right? That if you let yourself feel successful, if you let yourself feel, good about what you've done, then all of a sudden you think your motivation is going to disappear and you're going to stop doing it, right? So people get really superstitious about this. So it's important though, and I guess we'll get a little bit into it, that in Programming Yourself Thin, we really make it a focus and a point to build our motivation around pleasure, right? Your brain is a pleasure seeking mechanism. And yes, you can focus and fixate on pain for a little while and get yourself to take some action, but it's not going to last because your brain doesn't like pain. It wants pleasure. This is the reason you struggle with food in the first place, is your brain is obsessed and fixated on the pleasure of the food. So if you can make this process of losing weight, yes, certainly we're going to use pain, of course, but more we want to focus on the pleasure of it. What do we want? How do we want to feel? What successes do we want to achieve? What realities do we want to experience? And as we focus on the pleasure we're going to get from that, there starts to become this magnetic pull towards it. And we're still going to use the pain too. Again, in NLP, we call this a propulsion system. We have the pain kind of pushing us and we have the pleasure pulling us. And if you start to approach your weight this way, it opens the door for you to appreciate all the little things you do along the way. Because again, it's not just built around beating yourself up and feeling bad about yourself to get yourself to take action. It's built around you wanting more pleasure in the form of a slimmer body, feeling better health, more energy, all the other things that come with it. But it's an important piece to focus on. And you're going to find most likely that when you first start to think about this, you have a very limited ability to appreciate what you've done, to celebrate your victories, to feel good about the things that you've changed. Because again, most likely when it comes to your weight, probably a lot of areas of your life, but let's stick with your weight. You probably are in the habit of beating yourself up and trying to make yourself feel as bad as you possibly can in order to get yourself to take the actions that you need to take to get the results you want. So appreciating your weight loss results is a practice. It's something that you will suck at first. You will resist and not want to do. You will diminish yourself. You will diminish what you did. But it's important for you to continually work on appreciating your successes, celebrating your small wins, because as you start to do that, you start to give yourself the encouragement and support that most people really need to stick with this. It is a long path. There are ups and downs with it. And to drive this point home, because I know you're saying, Jim, it's bullshit. I need to be hard with myself. But if you think about, if you were going to support someone else, if someone else had successfully started focusing on their eating and their weight, and they'd made changes, and this is a person you really cared about and loved, they made changes, they started to lose some weight, and they felt bad about themselves because it wasn't quick enough, most likely you would very quickly seek to encourage them, to support them, to point out all the successes that they'd achieved, right? And why would you do that? Because it works better, right? Because it's more effective. It helps people out. Putting people down constantly, putting yourself down constantly is not a good strategy for success. It's a strategy to kind of burn yourself out because feeling like shit all the time is unpleasant and you're going to want to move away from it. So let this be a practice for you right from the beginning that you start to work on celebrating your small victories, appreciating the little things you do along the way, and you start to develop and encourage this mindset of where you feel really good, about what you're doing. Someone just can't hear me. So I hope this helps you out. Oh, is that dead? There we go. Can you hear me now? Yes. So yes, I hope this helps you out. And for those of you who didn't hear me, well, watch the replay. But for those of you who didn't hear me, I hope this helps you out. And again, you can go deeper into this whole process. Click the link in my bio. Go get the hypnosis session. Watch the video I made for you. We talked about this stuff, all right, that you probably didn't hear. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. Glad I saw that at the end there. But that was weird. I know it happened too. Yeah. So you can hear me now, I'm imagining. Can't hear you. Yeah, let me know if you can hear me now, actually. I'm pretty sure you can. Check. Sound is back. All right, thanks, Yvette. Glad I got 10 minutes into that before I realized that. Anyways, like I said, you can always watch these replays. They're up on YouTube. Someone said, I don't know what person was saying. Someone's telling me YouTube that the last video they saw was 2024, but these videos are on YouTube as well. This exact thing. It's in different format, but you can always watch those there. What's up, Nura? Nura says, dieting and beauty industry in general profit from insecurity, and they market shame and low self-worth to make people lifelong customers. Well, I can't disagree with that. Absolutely. Recently heard how discipline means making something such a strong part of your identity that you no longer argue with your feelings. AKA, I eat healthy no matter how I feel because that's who I am. Yeah, sure. And I think that's an amazing way to put it because self-hate is still a form of self-obsession. Forming a new identity is the only way of achieving long-term success. Yeah, agreed. Right. Nura's in the program and she's a smarty anyways. She studies other stuff, but I couldn't agree more. I think all legitimate real change has got to happen at the identity level. There's just no way around that. Right. And I think, that gets to the heart of why most people struggle with dieting, because with dieting, you're never changing your identity. You're an overweight person who's forcing themselves to act different so that you can lose weight. And so this, I believe, is a core reason why 95 to 98% of dieters that lose weight put it back on, because the weight loss never sinks down to the identity level. Dieters never get to the point where they think of themselves as a thin, healthy person. Dieters think of themselves as an overweight person who's going to fight against themselves to lose weight. You see what I mean? But in the program, we call it self-image, but self-image identity is the same thing. And so if you have the self-image of a overweight person, of an overeater, of a sweetaholic, of a person with no control, obviously everything you do, you're going to have to constantly fight against all of your automated thoughts and feelings that flow out of that identity. So it's really important, I think, that when you approach change, that you have some sense of this identity level, because that's what you're truly looking for. It's not just to lose weight. Just losing weight is not enough. That's not what you want. You want to stay at that weight. You want to live at that weight. And that's an identity level shift that needs to happen, where you think of yourself fundamentally differently. And you can do it, folks. Okay. When I say you're thinking of yourself differently, by the way, you're not thinking of yourself as a completely different person. You're thinking of yourself as a slim, healthy version of you. You can do that. I promise you. If you come and shit, you can just work with me and I'll change it. But certainly if you lived with me, you know what I mean? And you saw what I did and how I thought and how I ate and how I lived, you would very quickly realize that you could learn all this stuff, So it's like, you would start playing the guitar, you start learning a language. Well, at first, you're an English speaker or a non-music playing person, but as you stick with it, your identity starts to change. As you stick practicing the language, getting fluent in it, as you practice the instrument, get fluent in it, you start to seeps down to an identity level. You start to say, I'm a musician, I'm a guitar player, I'm a Spanish speaker, whatever it may be. And we need to have that level as part of this process. And most people don't. Most people really just look at dieting. Again, they're leaving the identity alone. You're not doing any of the mindset work. And again, your identity is part of your mindset, right? So again, program yourself, then that's one of the 6 mindset pieces we go through. But it's an important one. And even just recognizing it and starting to aim at not just losing weight, but this transformation of who I am, and how I'm living. And of course, you've done this already in your life. Okay. If you are in a relationship, if you're married, for sure, right? All of a sudden you're married. That's a new identity. If you become a parent, it's a new identity. If you retire, that's a new identity. If you start a new job, it's a new identity. You move someplace new, it's a new identity. So you're able to do this. It's harder with weight. I will grant you that. But you can still do it. And so I think it's important to go into this process with a focus on that. Mel says, sorry, wait, what are we talking about? Talking about the identity level change when it comes to weight loss, so that it's not just about changing your eating. That's the external piece of weight loss. Yes, of course you have to change your eating, obviously, but every diet is only about that. Okay. And so with Program Yourself, then we go into the mindset piece as well. We're changing the eating too, obviously. But we're generating a lot of that change by focusing on your mindset. We're kind of going below to the deeper levels of you as a person, and we're changing more than just your behavior. And this is why diets don't work, because you're changing your behavior, but you don't change any of the inner workings of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, how you're approaching this, how you think about yourself and identify yourself. So again, we want to have a bigger system, a more comprehensive approach to changing your weight. And all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier when you do that. Okay? What's up, Rachie? Rachie says, how to build self-belief. I don't believe I will lose weight long-term consistently as I've gained it back so many times before. Yeah, that's a great question. And I think every one of you, if you have been trying to lose weight for more than 10 years, really ought to ask this question. How do I build a new self-belief? How do I change my self-image? How do I create the belief that I will be a person who will actually stick with something long-term consistently? Right? Now, that's a great question to ask. And my answer might surprise you, because there is no magical identity self-image trick you can use to do that. Ironically, the easiest way to answer that, Rachie, is to stop dieting. What do I mean? I don't even know Rachie, by the way. I've never spoke to Rachie, but I'm gonna probably explain her weight loss history right here, right now, because it explains most of your weight loss histories. But Rachie probably has this belief that I can't stick to a diet, I can't stick to a plan, because there's something wrong with me. Right? That's what it comes down to. Is there something wrong with me? I've lost weight and I've gained it back so many times before. I'm just a person who can't stick to anything. That's who I am, because there's something wrong with me. Now, it never occurs to you to say, maybe there's something wrong with the diet. Maybe there's something wrong with the strategy I'm using to lose weight. You never think that, because you've been led to believe that if you can't stick to the diet, it's because there's something wrong with you. It's a willpower issue. It's a control issue. It's a food craving addiction issue. But isn't it possible that the concept of dieting is the issue? And I don't give a shit what diet it is. It does not matter which diet it is. Every diet's the same. You know that? Every diet's the same. Doesn't matter. Low fat, low carb, carnivore, vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, counting calories, intermittent fasting. It does not matter. None of it matters. Why is every diet the same? Because of the way that you approach it. And every single diet's the same because you always start, usually on a Monday, 100% perfect with the plan. So again, it does not matter which one you're following. You're starting Monday being 100% perfect with what you're going to do. And you're going to be perfect all the way till you reach your goal weight. And there's no room for mistakes. There's no real strategy for how to get back on track quickly if you do make a mistake. You have no real sense of how to absorb the mistakes that you make and are going to make, because you're never going to be perfect with your eating. That's not even an option. Dieting so let me take a step back, and it's important that I explain this. Dieting is, in your mind, you code dieting as a short-term thing. It's a temporary thing, right? You're going to diet until you lose the weight. That's how you think about dieting. I'm going to diet until I lose the weight, and then I'll figure the rest out later. That's how everyone thinks about weight loss. And so what happens is, as soon as you think of it as a temporary thing, you say, okay, well, I want to do this as quick as possible. I just want to lose the weight as fast as I can. And now here come the diets where we start 100% perfect. We do everything absolutely perfect right from the beginning. And that's the only thing acceptable as we move forward, to be perfect with everything. And at some point, you're not going to be perfect because you're a human being. You're never going to be perfect with your eating, folks. Never, ever, never. I'm a master of my weight. I lost 50 pounds, but the same weight for 30 years. I had one blip 13 years ago. And I'm a master of my weight. I'm never perfect with my weight. I never have a week where I'm perfect with my eating. So you're never going to be perfect either. But you hold on to this idea that you need to be perfect in order to manage your weight. And it's an impossibility. And so your plan doesn't have any strategies for how to get back on track quickly, right? It's all or nothing. And so you're either doing it all perfectly or you're not doing anything. Program Yourself Thin's all or something. So we have flexibility. We understand, yeah, sometimes you're focused, motivated, everything in life's going well, and you can focus 100% on your food and your eating and your weight and all the rest of it. Great, great. Knock yourself out. But then there are going to come times, I promise you, where life is really challenging. Relationship stress, money stress, job stress, bullshit, kids, life, whatever. In those situations, no, you're not going to be perfect. No, you're not. Again, you have to understand that dieting is always explained and thought of in the context of it being a temporary thing. I'm going to commit 1000% to this thing so I can lose the weight. Okay, great. You can't commit 1000% forever to your weight. No, you can't. And so to start building the belief that you can be consistent and stick with this, it's not just about, because that's how you've been doing it, Rachel. You think I have to change myself so I can make myself follow this really hard plan that I don't like doing long term. And I would suggest you take a step back and say, wait a second, what if I adjusted what I'm doing? What if I adjusted what I'm doing so I made it easier for myself? What if I did it in a way that was comfortable? You know, people jump into diets, metaphor again, and you don't even realize that because you've been so conditioned to think like a dieter, you don't realize how ridiculous dieting is. But I always use the example of playing the piano. You never played the piano before, and you want to play the piano and you want to get good really fast. So you say, I'm going to play 8 hours a day. And I said, well, that sounds like a lot of piano playing. You say, yeah, Jim, well, if you want results, you got to put the work in, Jim. No pain, no gain, Jim. Hey, knock yourself out. Go ahead. And you muscle through the first day, right? The second day comes, your fingers are cramped up. You hate the piano, but you got to keep doing it. There it is. So what? No pain, no gain. Come on. Come on, you know? And so what dieting is, it's an endurance test. It's never about, I'm going to live this way forever. It's like, how long can I stick with it? And that's why people always know, I've been doing it for a week. I've been on this for a month, because you always know the exact time because you're measuring. It's just like, how long am I make it this time? It ain't going to be forever. That's for sure. And there's not even a concept in your mind of it being forever. It's always just this short-term thing I'm going to do to lose weight. And so when you take a step back and look at that, dieting is giving you exactly what you're asking of it. I just want to get to my goal weight. I just want to get to my goal. I just want to lose weight and get to my goal weight. That's just what I want, Jim. That's all I want. What are you going to do when you get there? I don't know. I'll think about it later. I just want to get there. Okay. But there's the problem. So Program Yourself Thin is not about getting to your goal weight. Program Yourself Thin is focused on living at your goal weight for the rest of your life on near autopilot. And once you say that goal, you say, well, what? Huh? I've been trying to lose weight for 50 years. I've never thought that. I've never said it that way. I've never said to myself, I want to live at my goal weight for the rest of my life on near autopilot. I've thought about weight 22 hours a day for the last 20 years, and I've never once thought about living at my goal weight for the rest of my life on near autopilot. Yeah. So maybe the problem is not you. Maybe the problem is the strategy that's been stuffed down your throat your entire life of how to lose weight, that you've got a diet to do it. Dieting is complete and utter bullshit. And I don't know what to tell you. And I get at it every day. I'm picking a fight. I'm looking for someone to tell me how great dieting is. Tell me you lost 40 pounds 20 years ago on Weight Watchers and tell me how great it is. So it's not great because dieting is a short-term thing. It's a short-term approach. And so, it's important to realize that it's not about you turning yourself into this willpower machine. It's about you having a better strategy. And that's what Program Yourself Thin is all about. It's all about, and again, first of all, we focus on more than just the food. If you think about every single diet you've done, and again, does not matter what, it doesn't matter. Literally pick any diet. You can boil it down to is it's always someone telling you what to do. And then it's up to you to get yourself to do it. And the truth is, you don't really have any system or knowledge or understanding of how to influence your thoughts, your feelings, your behavior strategically. And so it's just you just trying to wing it and force yourself to follow a plan. And it feels like an endurance test, and it is an endurance test. And you can do it for a little while. And again, so you're following the pattern, Rachie, of 95 to 98% of people that lose weight on a diet put it back on. And this is because diets aren't about living at your goal weight, they're about getting to your goal weight. Program Yourself Thin, and what we're talking about here is about living there. And in order to do that, it's more about the strategy you're using than it is even what's going on here. I couldn't follow a strict diet. I hate strict diets. I've been the same way for 30 years, one blip there, and I haven't dieted once. I don't even work out. I've started to do some resistance stuff for other reasons, but I've been 30 years of maintaining my weight with no consistent exercise at all, no diets at all. I have a rock solid system though. And my rock solid system is mindset, lifestyle, eating. I've tweaked and optimized my mindset, my lifestyle, my eating so that now it's very easy and natural for me to live my goal weight. And that's what I teach my clients. That's what I help my clients do. But I hope, Rachie, that you can let yourself off the hook. It's really not your fault. And this goes for all of you. It's really not your fault that you haven't succeeded with a diet. The diets are not there for you to succeed with, by the way. And I know you don't believe me, but this is a true fact that Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products is owned by the same company as Auntie Anne's Pretzels and Cinnabon. Slim Fast is owned by the same company as Ben and Jerry's. These companies don't want you to lose weight. They're literally owned by the food companies. They're just filling your head with rocks so that you diet for a little bit and they make money off you there. And then you go back to eating your bullshit food. And at the end of the day, nothing ever changes. And that's the trap you're in, when it comes to dieting. So hopefully that helps you. But Rachie, again, if you're really serious, make sure you click the link in my bio, go get the hypnosis session, watch the video I made for you. It'll help you. And those things are all free, by the way, they're free. And Rachie says, yep, hit the nail on the head. Yeah. I tend to do that. I kind of know. Yeah. Robin says, everything you're saying rings true. Yeah, I know. Again, I'm not trying to be conceited, but at the same time, I take the no bullshit oath when I get on here. And part of that is, yeah, I really know what I'm talking about. And I'm coming at this from a completely different angle than you ever hear. I've been doing this personally for over 30 years, professionally over 20 years. And I've done over 6,000 private weight loss sessions. So it's like, I really do know what I'm talking about. And I have the results to prove it. I mean, not just me, I've my clients. So it's like, I know what I'm talking about here. And I get on here for free every day, by the way. So I'm here every Monday through Friday around noon Eastern. Happy to talk to you all, because for me, this is a mission. My father died when he was 54 of a heart attack. And so I was 9 years old. So for me, this is a mission, and that's why I'm here every day. So yeah, happy to help you all out and happy to give a different perspective. Heather Wilson, what's up? Said I lost over 4 stone easily with Slimming World, but it all crept back on. Interestingly, Jim, I finally sussed it wasn't me. It was the process and lack of mindset designed to keep you on their diet program. Skill and maintenance and retraining ourselves to fuel our bodies correctly is key. Yes, absolutely, Heather. Right. Yeah. Slimming World is, again, I've worked with a number of people that have done Slimming World because I work with a bunch of people over in England. But it doesn't matter. Again, and there's literally here, just to prove the point, just to drive the point home about diets. It's like, you can think of like every diet you've ever heard of, right? Let's just say 100 years of dieting. There's not one diet that rises to the top as being the most effective. They're all bullshit. Weight Watchers may be the most effective one, and it has nothing to do with the goofy plan. Counting points just because they call it points and made colors instead of calories. Like that's not what helps people lose weight in that world. It is, it's a social aspect, and they're cutting that part down, and that's the only reason. But every other diet, they're all equally as ineffective ultimately. And it's because, yeah, you never learn how to influence your mindset. You never learn the real pieces that are controlling your weight. And so you're just kind of spinning your wheels, and you're feeling really bad about yourself the whole time. but you really shouldn't, because again, it's not your fault. You're using a stupid strategy. Again, it would be like if you lived in a world where the conventional wisdom about how to play the piano is that you start by practicing 8 hours a day. In a world where that was the case, no one would ever play the piano, you know? And by the way, the piano's hard enough. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, again, things that losing weight, changing your mindset, changing your lifestyle and your eating, it takes effort and work. So it's not an easy thing. Anyone that tells you it's easy is bullshitting you. It's not easy. It takes effort. It takes focus. It takes concentration. I make no bones about it. I'm not trying to trick anyone. I've done that shit. Listen, I've been doing this professionally for over 20 years. When I first started, I got to make it sound easy. Let's sell hypnosis sessions. I could be a kabillionaire if I just sold my weight loss hypnosis sessions by themselves, but they don't work by themselves, not long term. I can make anyone lose weight. If you just listen to my sessions, because I did this, I tested out again last year. I just sold the sessions and I was like, let me see what happens. And because I had a thing, I was testing people, I was asking how it worked for them. And a number of people said it would work great. But I know that they don't have the skills to maintain it with just the hypnosis. You've got to take control. You have to approach your weight like it's college. You've got to approach it like you're learning a trade or you're getting a degree. You've got to have your own, in my world, the way I think of it, we have the goal weight blueprints. So you got your mindset blueprint, lifestyle blueprint, eating blueprint, and you've got to fill it out based on you. You're a unique person. I can't tell you how to eat. You know what I mean? That's what's so crazy about dieting. This idea that I'm going to tell you how to eat. Are you crazy? Like, you're a human. You're just going to let me tell you how to eat? What's next? You could tell you how to dress, tell you what music to listen to, what movies to watch. What? You know what I mean? Like, you're a human being. You got to honor yourself. And you need to develop and cultivate your mindset, lifestyle, and eating around you. What are your preferences? What do you like to do? What's your lifestyle? What works easiest for you? What's the most enjoyable? What's motivating to you? What motivates me isn't necessarily going to motivate you. So you got to take the time to understand these things. And if you're not willing to put the time in, that's fine too. But don't expect great results. It's just going back to literally anything. I mean, musical instrument, martial arts, learning a language. If you don't put the time and the effort in, you're not going to get the results. And what the diet industry is really built around, and it's funny that it's like, I know we'll say fad diets, but they're all fad diets. No matter how sound the nutritional advice is within it, they're all fad diets because they're not built for long term. They never show you how to change your mindset. So once you learn how to change all that stuff, this shit ain't rocket science. It's so funny. I was talking to someone yesterday. I had a couple conversations kind of in that ballpark that people have been with me for a little while. And they're like, man, yeah, it's like if you just keep showing up, you just get the results. Yeah, I know. I always say as an example, it's like you could have no math aptitude or no mechanical aptitude, but if you go to accounting school or mechanic school or plumbing school, if you go through it, you're going to come out the other side and a mechanic, a plumber, an accountant. Doesn't matter what your aptitude is here. You'll learn it. You'll understand it. Just got to keep exposing and understanding and learning, and you'll end up where you want to go. But with dieting, there's no path to do that. What's the path? That you're going to start the plan perfectly on Monday and stick with it, and this time it's going to last? That's it. It's so bleak for you dieters that there's not even you don't even have any concept of what else you would do different. There's one plan, there's one model of weight loss, and it's you jumping 100% into whatever plan you choose, 100% into it, and then staying 100% on it until you lose the weight. And at this point, again, it was like Rachel's talking about, that it's hard enough to do that in your 20s. Just jump all the way into it. It gets harder in your 30s. But once you start getting to your 40s, that's when most of my clients are between the ages of 45 and 70. And by the time you start getting to your 40s, now you got a whole history of failed attempts. And so now what happens, and you know what actually is worse though? It's not just a history of failed attempts. The worse than the failed attempts is the times you succeeded, the times you lost the weight and then put it back on. Most people can only handle 1, 2, 3 of those before they're just devastated. Because what happens with all that experience of trying to start something and just never getting any traction, not getting any results, but then the big bombs of like actually losing weight and then putting it back on is by the time you get in your 40s, you start to have this association that I can't lose weight. No matter what I do, it's always coming back on. What's the point? And you start to have this real deep apathy. I don't know what to do. And that's where most of you are probably at. If you're trying to lose weight, if you've been trying to lose weight for a long time, you're at the point now where it's like you think about weight loss constantly, but you can't get yourself to actually do anything because your mind says, shit, even when we succeed, we lose. Even when we lose the weight, we lose. And that's even worse. And now you have this, it's almost like someone took the engine out of your car. You know what I mean? You think about, losing weight and eating better all the time, but you can't get yourself to make any movements towards it. And your whole weight loss approach revolves around some magical Monday where you wake up and you're this completely different version of you who has the ability to completely follow a plan perfectly. And it's like, that is not something I would want to rely on. That does not have a good likelihood of success. Thanks, Karen. What's up, Kelly? Kelly says, I think of my eating blueprint as a diet. I know it's not, but I think that I treat it in that way in my mind. How do I break that? Well, I think that's fine, Kelly. And I think that's normal. I think, yes, we, in Program Yourself Thin, we have an eating blueprint. And I'm super excited too, the new blueprints are coming out this weekend. So go check that out for my clients. But yeah, I think it's normal. Again, we never stop thinking like a dieter, folks. You're never not going to think like a dieter, and you don't have to. You're going to think like a dieter for the rest of your life in the same way that you're going to think in English the rest of your life. You could literally go live in China for the next 30 years. You'll still understand English. You'll still think English sometimes. So you're always going to think like a dieter. Not a big deal. Don't be upset when you think like a dieter. Okay. The thing is, we got the dieter way of thinking, and we're looking to create a thin and healthy way of thinking. And we're looking to put our energy into thinking like a thin and healthy person most of the time. So that's completely normal, Kelly. It's fine to think of your eating blueprint as a diet. I think anytime you start some new way of eating, you're going to think of it like a diet. The big difference, though, is that the Program Yourself Thin eating blueprint is really, it's built to you, and it's got gradients. So if you're super motivated and focused and energized and have the time and the energy to do it, you can change lots of things. If you're, kind of struggling in life and you're sick and they're arguing with people and stresses and bullshit and all this stuff, then you can ease off a little bit. So there's a flexibility in the Program Yourself Thin eating blueprint that's really kind of unmatched, And so what'll happen, Kelly, though, is that you'll start thinking of it as a diet, and you will end up, you'll think of it as a diet, like the verb, right? So we diet to lose weight, verb. And eventually, though, that eating blueprint will become your diet, the noun version, a description of how you typically eat. So just stick with it, Kelly. It's fine that you think that sometimes. You don't have to break that habit. Just make the plan work for you. And as you stick with it for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, it just becomes your diet. Does that make sense? Because that's how it is for me. I mean, this is just how I eat now. I'm still groping around in the dark, but my hand will find the light switch. Yeah, there you go, Kelly. For sure. And it's just, I don't know, like you just keep going with it, again, I don't know. I don't know if was I just saying this or if I was thinking it, but it's like the thing with dieting and weight loss is it's always being sold like 100% as a get rich quick scheme, right? We have the ability to identify money-making opportunities, and we have like a whole category called get rich quick schemes. But then we also have the category of like, go get a job, start a business, create value, right? Offer value and you get, compensated for it. So again, we have a full spectrum there, right? So fine. But within that spectrum of money, we can look at the get rich quick. That doesn't work. That's just silly. It's goofy, right? But when it comes to weight loss, we don't have that. We got dieting, we've got injections, and we've got surgery. And it's like, so dieting seems like the most common sense, normal thing out of the whole bunch. And it's not at all. Dieting is a get rich quick scheme, right? So in my spectrum, it's dieting, injections, surgery, and then there's mindset based approach, a holistic mindset based approach to living at your goal weight, where you strategically and systematically improve and optimize your mindset, how you think about this. You improve and optimize your lifestyle. You improve and optimize your eating until you get to your goal weight. And it's all set up with a focus on how can I do it so it's automatic. Dieting is not automatic. I'll give you an example I'm talking about. Like the best habit you all have is brushing your teeth, right? So you invested in that habit when you were young and now it just runs on its own. So you can do the same thing with your eating, with your lifestyle, with your thinking habits. So you start to have automatically, you start generating better thoughts. You start doing better things for your lifestyle and you start eating better automatically. And that's what we're focused on, program yourself thin. This idea that you're going to always consciously make decisions about your eating is silly. It's estimated we make over 200 food decisions a day, So anyways, Kelly, I would say I would change that metaphor anyways. I don't like that metaphor one bit, Kelly, for you, because I know you're not groping around in the dark. I would say that you found the light switch, but it turns out it's a dimmer, and the dimmer is it's a little rusty, so it's hard to turn it. But you turned it a little bit. Now the lights are a bit dimmer or a bit brighter, right? But still kind of dark in there. But you found the switch. You got the WD-40 coming. You're gonna put it on there, and you're gonna get it turned up more. But you are not in the dark, Kelly. I promise you that. You're not, because, and again, this is actually a great example. It's kind of what we were talking about, appreciating your weight loss. One of the best things you can do to appreciate your weight loss and the progress you've made, and this is something we all have to work on, especially the people I work with, because we're all perfectionists. But we tend to measure ourselves against perfection rather than where we started from. So I'd suggest, Kelly, to get a real sense and a belief that you're absolutely not in the dark, is reference where you were a year ago, 6 months ago, and where you're at now. And I think you'll instantly have a much greater sense of how much light you're actually living in. Yeah. And yet it can still get brighter too, as well. Robin says, everything you're saying rings so true. Yep. Heather's in UK. Yeah, I think I knew that, Heather, anyways. And in Slimming World, we don't have Slimming World here, as far as I know. Because every time I ever work with Slimming World, it's always UK. So I don't know if they have it right now. Sarah says, watching from Ireland. Thank you for your sound advice. You're welcome. You're welcome. I get a lot of people from Ireland. I don't know if Denise is here. She's sometimes on TikTok, but yeah, it's funny. It is so funny too. Like it's, I work with people all around the world, and I would say the top countries outside of America I work with are Canada, Australia, and England. Those are probably the big ones. And it's really crazy how similar the issues are. You know what I mean? Like across the countries. It's very interesting. So anyways. What's up, Kent? Kent says PYT is easy to stick with because you feel good about yourself starting with day one. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Kent. Very true. Again, dieting, you're jumping in and you're jumping right into overwhelm on your diet. Oh, Rachel's in the UK too. Okay, Wales. Yeah, all right. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that Canada and England are probably my number 2 country, neck and neck, and then Australia. And then it's just varied. And it's so crazy. It's so crazy seeing people from all around the world that I get to help. It's really one of the highlights of my life. Kelly says, you're right about the analogy. I'm not in the dark. Yeah, there you go, Kelly. It feels better to know that too. Again, and Kelly's a good example. I mean, in my world, the people I work with, we're overthinkers, we're perfectionists, we're kind of type A-ish type people. We're very action oriented, but we're also very critical and harsh on ourselves. And so such a big part of the work I do, because the program really is built for those types of people, is just relaxing with some of the stuff we say to ourselves. We're so harsh and critical sometimes with ourselves, and so negative and pessimistic sometimes that so a lot of the work is just kind of like balancing that out, realize it's not as bad as you're saying it to yourself. It's better than you think it is. And yeah, so again, it's a lot better to think you're in a dim room that you're just slowly turning the lights up on than to be in the dark. So anyways. Comedy Queen says, what do you think about starting with MyFitnessPal to start being more mindful of what you're eating and tapering off? I think that's great. Like, I think that's a great approach. And I get on this podcast. My main goal is to help you all out. So I'm very clear. I don't make this a pitch session for my program. Just want to make that crystal clear. At the same time, I'm going to point out, and you find another program to do it. So I don't care if you do my program or some other one, but I will tell you that just using MyFitnessPal and just tracking things has an extremely low likelihood of success, because what it's in, what it's a example of is one of the big things you got to worry about with diet mindsets is that every single diet you've ever heard about in your life always revolves around the one thing. And this is part of diet marketing. They know that diets know that who they're appealing to are people that are overwhelmed, exhausted, tired, stressed out, negative about weight loss, kind of up to here just with life, right? Life's full. It's hard. And so what they have to do is they have to make the diet seem really easy. Or you got to make it seem really easy. And one of the easiest ways to make the diet seem easy is it's just one thing. All you have to do is one thing. And that's almost every single diet is built around the one thing concept, right? Just don't eat for 16 hours. Just don't eat carbs. Just don't eat fat. Just lower your calories. Just track your calories. Just count your points. Just, track your food, right? Just slowly taper it down. And so you've been fed this steady, influence of the only thing you do is change one thing. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. You need to have a comprehensive, holistic strategy if you have any chance at all of living at your goal weight. You've got to have some sense of how you're going to deal with your mindset. Because again, you can have the greatest strategy in the world. Because again, by the way, tracking things on MyFitnessPal and slowly tapering it down, that's a great strategy. But by itself, it's just a tactic. And it's a great tactic when you do it. But let's be honest, comedy queens, the main thing that's going to make that tactic not work is you wake up one day and you slept like shit last night and you ate a pint of ice cream before you went to bed and you step on the scale today and you're really upset about your weight. You've been tracking your calories for a week and now you go and ate some ice cream and now your weight went up and now you slept like shit and now you're grumpy, tired. And now you say, fuck it. Fuck it. So again, the tracking on the fine tactic, it's fine. All the diets are fine. I mean, almost pretty much every diet has some legitimate conceptual idea to it. No doubt about it. But the idea that one thing is going to master your weight is so silly, And so again, in that case, a great idea. Yeah, start paying attention to your meals. But if that's the only thing you do, the same problem is going to show up that stopped you in the past. You're going to wake up in a bad mood. You're going to wake up in a bad mood and you say, fuck it. It doesn't matter. Fuck it, Weight Watchers. Fuck it. Oh, carbs. I can't deal with this anymore. Oh, fuck it. I couldn't track. I can't count another calorie. No way. That's the biggest challenge you're all dealing with. So how are you going to deal with that? That's my question to you. What are you going to do then? So again, I like it as part of an overall holistic strategy. I think that's great. You could pop that right into Program Yourself Thin. Because in Program Yourself Thin, the very first step of the eating blueprint is awareness. You all are a lot less aware of what you're eating than you think you are. And I know you don't believe me and I'm not going to convince you, but I promise you, I guarantee you are not aware of what you're eating. Most of our eating is done on autopilot. I did that lesson yesterday. I was talking about on the podcast is eating trances. And most of your eating is done in trances. You're not fully aware. You're kind of on autopilot. So again, becoming more aware through tracking is great, but it's just one tiny little piece of the puzzle. How motivated are you? How are you thinking of this process? How are you influencing your self-image and identity during this process? How are you dealing with your habits? How about that one? What are your worst habits and how are you dealing with them? You just going to stop them? Oh, okay. Right. How are you dealing with your emotions? How are you going to deal with the shitty emotions that you don't want to feel now that you're not going to eat a bunch of food to deal with them? How do you feel the emotions you want to feel? How are you going to affect your thinking? What you say to yourself? How you think about this whole process? What's your maintenance plan? What are you going to do when stress in your life starts up? Emotional things happen. Bullshit visits you. What are you going to do? What's your plan? Right? What's your lifestyle pieces? How's your sleep? How's your hydration? How's your relaxation? How's your nourishment? How's your movement? I mean, I don't know, keep going on, but it's like, again, I'm not here to make you all discouraged. I'm here to reset your expectations. You all, it's like going to college and be like, oh, I want to learn accounting. And they say, oh, we'll just study debits and credits. That's all you need to know. Debits and credits. Huh? That's it? No, it's not it. It's not it. It's a bunch of marketers. Every diet is a marketing exercise. So their whole goal is to make it seem as easy as possible. No, it's not easy. Stop looking for the easy path. It's screwing you all up, you know? But anyways, it's a nice first step. So again, if that's what you're willing to do, go do it. But I would say a much better step, comedy queens, would be to go get the hypnosis session in my bio. Click the link in my bio. Go get the free hypnosis session. It's 10 minutes. Listen to that. See how you feel after it. Watch the video I made for you. It's like 25 minutes. I'll lay out the entire system of what I'm talking about. Don't get my program, but at least see the system, at least go at this with a more holistic strategic plan. Dieting and weight loss, for most people, there is zero strategy. It's always tactical. It's one tactic. I'm gonna count every calorie. Well, then what? I'm gonna count every calorie. I'm gonna adjust I'm gonna eat less. If only it was that easy. It's just not, though. It's just not. And if you don't like that message, then I don't know what to tell you. But to me, it's like I see it every day, and it's just you need to realize that it does take more of a focus. But here's the flip side, though. Let me tell you this, okay? So I know, like, a lot of times say, well, it takes more than just not eating for 16 hours or not doing this thing or doing this one thing. You say, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot more work. Is it? Is it a lot more work? Because what I'm talking about is like college. Like, when you go to college, yeah, okay, it's hard for 2, 4, 6 years for sure. But then you've got this degree, you've got this body of knowledge, you've got this skill set. Now life becomes easier because you got that. And it's the same thing here. Like, this doesn't take 4 years too, by the way, but it's like, once you have your mindset blueprint, once you know how to motivate yourself, and I'm talking about really motivate yourself. Once you have a sense of who you want to be, you have a sense of the identity you want to live as. Once you have a sense of how to manage your habits strategically in a way that works for you, and you set your habits up to support you instead of hurting you. Once you learn how to deal with your emotions, once you learn how to think like a thin, healthy person, once you know how to maintain during times of stress and struggles that are going to be in your life, once you know how to clean up your lifestyle, once you know how to eat like a thin, healthy person in the most easy, enjoyable way for you, like, life is way easier. My controlling my weight now just happens on autopilot. Your weight's happening on autopilot anyways, folks. Do you know that? Your weight's not going up 5 pounds every month. You're not eating more and more and more and more and more and more. Your weight stays pretty stable. It might go up a couple pounds every year, but your eating pretty much stays stable because you eat the same amount of calories on average, because you're programmed, your subconscious programming is controlling your habitual eating, your average calorie consumption. And so we're looking to reprogram your mind so that you think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person on autopilot. That's the key thing. So yeah, there's a bit of front work in the beginning, but then you've got this plan that's custom made for you, and you work it, and then eventually it starts to become automatic. So Kelly says, I appreciate you calling me out when I'm being critical of myself. That shit keeps me stuck. Yes, absolutely, Kelly. It definitely does. So I'm glad to be able to do that. That's what I love doing. I wish I could coach every single person in the world. Ruth Ray says, loving everything you have to say. Lost and gained 100 pounds with Weight Watchers over the years. The light has come on for me. Super job, Ruth. I'm happy for you. Yeah, again, and it's like, that's the other piece too with Program Yourself Thin that I love so much, is that it's really built around your mistakes. I think that's one of the things that makes it so unique from a diet. That dieting you go into with the idea that you're going to be perfect. And with Program Yourself Thin, it's really about, how do I recover from my mistakes? So I'll give you an example of what I mean. A diet, and I don't care what diet it is, you're jumping right into it, 100%. Okay. And it's overwhelming. To get through the first day is a miracle. To get through the first week, a second miracle. To get through the first month, a third miracle. To get through 2 months, a fourth miracle. Miracles. I mean, they never happen for you. So how's Program Yourself Thin different? Well, you're not going to believe this. We start by paying attention to how you typically eat. So we start with how you normally eat, and we strategically can pick your highest calorie habit. Maybe it's snacking at night. So we focus on that. Maybe you want to add to, we'll focus on your best eating habit too. Maybe we start on breakfast too. Let's optimize it. Let's improve it. Make it better strategically. Let's have variations of how we approach it. So it's not just black and white. It's not just all or nothing. And when you start approaching this way, we make it comfortable right from the beginning. This is not even taking into account the hypnosis component of the program that relaxes you, calms you down, helps you think better. But just the eating piece of the program. It starts with where you're at, because see, this is a fundamental mistake people make with weight loss is they think losing weight's hard because now they can't eat their favorite foods. And that is a small piece of it. The way bigger piece of why weight loss is so hard is because behavioral change is hard. See, conceptual understanding is easy. So any diet, you can look at it and understand it like that. Keto, oh, no carbs. Oh, I get it. Right. Oh, intermittent fasting, I stopped eating for 16 hours. Oh, I get it. Got it. Right. So you can understand the concept of it in 2 seconds, but to take that concept and turn it into behavioral knowledge, that takes a while. I'll give you an example of what I mean. When you think about writing, you know everything you need to know about writing. You can write with your hand. You can write a word, a letter, a sentence. You can write as much as you want. Okay. But you can only do it with one hand. So you have conceptual knowledge of how to write 100%, but you only have behavioral knowledge of how to do it with one hand. And if you try and do it with the other hand, it becomes much more tedious and difficult, and you can't do it as well. You really can't do it. This is why weight loss is hard, because changing your behavior, changing your automated behaviors is difficult. Most of your eating is run on autopilot. You have the same eating patterns, folks. You are not eating brand new foods every single week in brand new quantities at brand new times in brand new situations. You are eating the same foods in the same amounts at the same times in the same situations week after week after week after week. And they're happening on autopilot. And so the reason that weight loss is hard for a lot of you is because you're changing these deep-seated behaviors. So to put it another way, the reason weight loss is hard is the same reason why tomorrow would be hard. If you woke up and you said, you know what, today I'm going to use my other hand to brush my teeth. I'm going to use my other hand to use my phone. I'm going to use my other hand to use the mouse today. Right? So 3 things you know how to do, but the second you want to do them with the other hand, and you can do them with the other hand, but notice it would take a lot more thought, right? With your regular hand, it's just automatic. You can think about other stuff, do other stuff, and you're just automatically doing all those things. And now, as soon as you put in the other hand, now you have to think about all these things. And you quickly zoom down your energy. It goes whoop, because now you can't be on autopilot. You have to think, you have to spend energy. So every time you go on a diet, the hardest part of it is that you're not doing your automatic stuff anymore. Now you have to think about it, and your energy goes down. And when your energy goes down, guess what happens? You get hungrier. Literally, by the way, I'm talking literal energy. How about this? You have 2 parts of your brain. Again, obviously there's more to your brain, but in hypnosis, make a simple distinction. You have a conscious mind, subconscious mind. Conscious part of your mind is the logical, rational part of your brain. It's your prefrontal cortex. Okay. Newest part of your brain evolutionarily. The rest of your brain, we'll just call it the subconscious mind. This handles all your habitual thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Okay. So when you start your diet on day 1, you are overusing your prefrontal cortex, because now you're saying, okay, what do I want to eat for breakfast? What am I going to do? Okay, I got to make sure I'm not going to get the donut. I'm not going to get the coffee. I'm going to get something new. I'm going to get something better. So you're using your willpower from your prefrontal cortex. You're using your planning, your analytical thinking from your prefrontal cortex to decide breakfast and to change it. That's just one meal. Now we got to go to lunch. Now we go to dinner. And by the end of the day, your prefrontal cortex is the most energy intensive part of your brain. So it uses glucose, right? So all the food you eat turns into glucose, and all the cells of your body can use it. Your prefrontal cortex is very energy intensive, uses a lot of it. So when you're using a lot of willpower, a lot of thought, a lot of analytical, a lot of logic, you get tired. And as soon as your body gets tired, it sends you a hunger signal. And it sends you a hunger signal for the bullshit, because your body knows that the fastest way to boost that energy back up is sugary, processed, refined carb foods. So this is a big reason why dieting is a terrible strategy. You are going into it and you're burning through your energy psychologically. You're trying to change absolutely everything. You have no strategy. You have no pre-plan. Well, even worse, you have a meal plan where you're trying to follow that thing, but it's all out of your comfort zone, because not only is it all new food, you have to get yourself to eat that you don't really want to eat. You have to get the ingredients for it. You have to learn how to cook it. And it takes a lot of energy, and it's very tiring. And this is why most people don't make it through a day on a diet. Never mind a week, never mind a month, never mind forever. And so at Program Yourself Thin, we take a much more strategic approach to it because this isn't about, you know, everyone's fixated on how fast can I lose weight. And I think you got to change that up, so instead of saying how fast can I lose the weight, as fast as possible, we switch it to as long as possible. So yeah, Program Yourself Thin is not the fastest weight loss most of the time. I'm the first one to say it. But again, I get people that they've already done all that shit and doesn't work. So they're okay with that. That's how I'm in. It's for the long game. Those are the people I work with. But once you start focusing on that, you start making much more strategic decisions. And these strategic decisions are built for the long term. We're looking just like you installed a toothbrushing habit that now you can just rely on for the rest of your life. Your toothbrushing habit runs so automatically and it's installed so well that you don't ever imagine not brushing your teeth. You just assume and imagine you're going to brush your teeth every day for the rest of your life automatically. So it's like once we can, that part of your brain, when we can change the eating thoughts and behaviors you have and make them automatic, that's how you live at your goal weight in a comfortable way. But we got to take that piece into account because dieters, they really, oddly, and it turns to an extreme. It's so funny is it turns to an where not only is it hard, but you want it to be hard. Dieters want the hardest plan possible. They really do. Deep down, they do, because subconsciously they associate the more extreme the diet is, the faster the weight loss is going to be. And so subconsciously they're looking for the hardest plan that they can possibly find because there's that association to it. But you've got to wake yourself up from that trance and remind yourself, yeah, okay, I may lose weight quickly if I do a 4-week fast, but then I'm going to eat again and the weight's going to go back up. That's not a long-term solution. And the second you can start thinking about things from a long-term solution perspective, it changes everything instantly. Instantly. The second you start thinking long-term, how can I live at my goal weight for the rest of my life? You ain't going to be fucking keto. No, you're not going to be keto for the rest of your life. That's a terrifying idea. Let's be honest. You're going to be carnivore for the rest of your life. No, you're not. You don't want to count fucking calories for the rest of your life. You don't want to do that, And so once you start thinking long-term, it starts becoming very obvious. I'm going to have to do this differently. I'm going to have to build around my habits. I'm going to have to change how I think. I'm going to have to change how I think or how I live to support my healthier eating. And then ultimately I'm going to have to change how I eat in a way that's comfortable, enjoyable, easy, and sustainable. That's what you come up with the second you start focusing on the long term. But the diet industry is literally hypnotized you, brainwashed, conditioned you to focus on just the short term. How can you lose weight as quick as possible? So you've got to change that. And that helps you get there. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask them. Karen says, I feel like I can't keep it off because lost it all 4 times and put it back. Yeah, but again, I feel like I can't keep it off. Folks, if you feel like you can't keep it off, and I know a lot of you feel that way, you're right. Let's honor that. You're not an idiot. You're right. You can't keep it off with a diet. More accurately, I don't want to keep it off with a diet. That's more accurate too. And I hope you can bring yourself to say that. You don't want to keep it off with a fucking keto diet. You don't want to be in keto. It sucks. The ketosis is worse than the weight. The tracking the calories, worse than the weight. The not eating for 16 hours and being starving every morning, worse than the weight. It's that simple, right? So when you say, look, I feel like I can't keep it off. Yeah, you can't doing what you did. So you need to figure out a way to make it easier and more comfortable for yourself. So that's a good insight to have, though. So he says, how to wisely choose your goal weight. Should it be more of a range? Should I aim for a low BMI? Well, again, the first thing I'll suggest is get on my email list. Click the link in my bio, go to Program Yourself Thin, get the free hypnosis session, watch the video, because I got to put it in my, anyways, you'll get it though. But I created a goal weight quiz because this is the first issue people have. They don't even know how to choose their goal weight. Not the right one. And so I take you through a quiz. It takes you 60 seconds and you identify the right goal weight for yourself and why it matters. And on top of that, I literally, I reinforce, I send you some emails reinforcing what you chose and why. It's pretty cool. Free, by the way, completely free. So just a few ideas of how to choose the right goal weight. Should it be a range? It should absolutely be a range, folks. If your goal weight, if you don't have a range concept on top of your goal weight, you are going to be in big trouble because you're a human being and your weight fluctuates for a variety of reasons. And that's normal and natural. And if you're going to freak yourself out being at one number, it's just a recipe for failure. You're just going to doom yourself. It's terrible. So I would strongly suggest that you add a range. Now, what do you do? I mean, 3 to 5 pounds, 3 to 10 pounds on top of your goal weight. And again, it depends on your situation, your weight, things like that, but it should absolutely be a range. And BMI, a low BMI, no, you shouldn't aim for a low BMI. I mean, you can take the BMI chart into account as a data point, but ultimately your weight that you choose ought to be the weight that gives you the best quality of life. We can't just choose a weight based on a number. Because what if the number you choose requires you to drink water and eat carrots and celery only in life? Your quality of life is going to go shit. So we need more than just a number. But again, I take you through it with that quiz, and that quiz is free. So pop up there and check it out. Amy says, do you take private clients, or how does that work? I don't really work with one-on-one private clients much anymore. When I do, it's literally $25,000 to work with me, 12-week package to start. Okay. So I know that that's not the right thing for most people. I understand that. I will say this though, that you can work with me directly. And right now is the time to do it. Literally, maybe a week left where I'm doing this, where I have a group, and I keep the group small. I'm adding a couple people to it, and then the prices are going up. It will be $2,000 to work with me for 8 weeks, where I take you through the whole program. So you get the program, and every Tuesday and Thursday we get on a Zoom call, and I work directly with you. And I keep the group small enough where I will spend, the first time I get to know you, the first couple of times, we might spend 20, 30 minutes, talking about what your story is and what the situation is. And then I'll help you, fix that stuff. And then literally every time I'll work with you 10, 20 minutes, you know what I mean? So it's like, I can do a lot of work in that time. The most value I can ever offer you is coaching you. So I do have that group. I have other groups that are more private where it's a bit more of an investment. But if you're interested in that, email me at jim@programyourselfthin.com. And I will send you the link to that. Cause again, right now it's half that price. So again, same with the program. Right now is the time to get it. And I know I've said this. I know you might not believe me because I've been saying this for a little while, but I finally finished up the new updated blueprints. And now I'm just focused on business wise. I'm really focusing on running the business piece. And the first thing that's going on is the price is going up, for both of those things. So anyways, if you are interested in working with me directly in my group, which again is a phenomenal value. I can't even stress that enough. For me to work with you is literally the most valuable thing you will ever do with your weight. Guaranteed. I will cut through your bullshit faster than anyone ever has in your life. You will be shocked. I don't say that lightly. So yeah, if you're interested in that, shoot me an email at jim@programyourselfthin.com, or you can message me through whatever app you may be on. What's up, Jamelin? Jamelin says, exactly. You adapt to this lifestyle. I'm a little over 2 years in. It's finally on autopilot for me. Yeah, exactly. Around 2 years is when it starts to become autopilot. And tough shit. If you want it to be faster than that, what do you want from me? I play guitar for 30 years. I wish I could play songs better. Right? What do you want? I mean, you know what I mean? We all want stuff, but you got to put the work in, put the effort in. There's a natural, that was one of my favorite books of all time, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it was one of the things he said in that book that I love so much was the concept of, we're all so impatient. We're trying to rush the process faster than it can go. And he uses the example of, if you're a farmer, right? If you're farming, you can't rush the process. You just have to work what the process is. You have to, prepare the soil, put the seed in, and then give it the time and stuff it needs to grow. There's no rushing it. And this is the same thing. If you could wrap your head around that, it's such a nice place to be. Again, most people do this if you've gone to college or learned, got some certification or training or whatever. You made a commitment to something. right? You made a long-term commitment of years, and you recognize, okay, it's going to take years to master this. But once it's mastered, it's so worth it. And I can't think of anything more valuable than really mastering your weight. So, because in the way I'm talking about, again, you have to understand, I don't want you to just get to your goal weight. I want you to live at your goal weight. And I don't want you to just live at your goal weight. I want you to live at your goal weight where it feels near autopilot. It's very easy for me to live at my goal weight right now, to maintain my goal weight. It's mostly on autopilot. Now I'm still aware of it. I'm still overseeing it. But it's mostly on autopilot, you know? So I think of it as metaphorically, it's like if you have a garden, you're starting a garden. Well, the beginning is the most work, right? Because in the beginning, you got to whatever you're doing. Or if you have raised beds, you got to make the beds. You know what I mean? You got to put the soil and all the mix in there. You got to get it all prepared. You got to get all the weeds out, break up the dirt, all the rest of it. Then you plant all the seeds, all the rest of it. But as it moves on, now it's more maintenance. You're weeding, you're checking things, whatever. But at the beginning is where most of the work's happening. And then there's less work as you keep going. And I like to think of this process being similar, that it's more front-loaded work in the beginning, but it's all designed to get you to a place where it's less work, where it's more automated. And I think that's a very important piece of living at your goal weight. You need to automate it and make it easier. All right. All right, I want to get out of here. But again, if you're not in my world, please click the link in my bio, go get the free hypnosis session, watch the video, read the emails I send. I will send, I send it every couple of days, is the goal weight quiz. Go take that so you can identify the right goal weight for you. Pretty important piece of the puzzle to start with the right goal weight. And I help you do that for free. I'm here every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern-ish. I get on your live. So any questions you may have, feel free to ask them. I'm here to help you. I'm literally here to serve you. This is my mission. Happy to help you out with whatever I can. And then if you miss this and you like this, you can listen to this as a podcast. And so you can go listen to the podcast whenever you want. It's called Program Yourself. Then it's on all the podcast platforms. And you can watch it at my YouTube channel if you like the video piece of it. So thanks, Amy. I appreciate that. So all right, everyone, have a super duper day and we'll talk soon. Bye.